No one in poker history caused more chaos than prime Tom Dwan. It's late night in London, and the table is quiet, until Tom Dwan pulls this. He fires a massive overbet into a pot he has no business winning. Sammy George tanks. The tension is thick. And then, he folds.
I had your 7 again. I wanted to just take it down.
You don't have to do 7.
Tom announces his hand, and Sammy doesn't believe him.
I'm all in.
No!
Wow! That is a gigantic bet.
No way.
More than double the pot. There it goes.
That bluff wasn't for chips. It was for dominance. To the old guard, to the online grinders, to anyone watching, durrrr is not afraid of you. At just 23 years old, Tom Dwan was already a legend in the making. Fearless, unpredictable, and absolutely dangerous. He didn't just play poker, he rated it. But here's the question that still lingers more than a decade later. How good was Tom Dwan in his prime? And did he change the game, or just break it for a while? Before the TV lights, before the million-dollar pots, Tom Dwan was just another screen name on Full Tilt Poker. Durrrr, lowercase, almost dismissive. But behind that keyboard was a kid in his teens, quietly becoming the most feared player in the online world. He didn't grind his way up with safe play or tight ranges. He did it by throwing the rulebook in the trash. Unorthodox bets, relentless aggression, bluff frequencies that made other pros dizzy. He'd 3-bet you with 7-deuce and barrel off like it was aces, and the thing was, he made it work. In the golden age of online poker, where tens of thousands played daily and legends were forged in anonymity, Tom Dwan was printing money on the highest stakes cash tables. By age 21, he was reportedly up over $5 million playing online cash. In 2008 alone, he made over $5.4 million on Full Tilt Poker. He wasn't just beating good players, he was humiliating them. By 2008, Dwan had racked up millions in online winnings, and a reputation that struck fear into even the best. One of his regular victims, Phil Galfond, once said, "When you played against durrrr, it wasn't about whether you'd lose, it was about how much." But it wasn't just about raw aggression. Dwan's genius was in how quickly he adapted. He was one of the first to treat poker like a dynamic system, not a fixed puzzle. He'd adjust faster than anyone, and punish you for patterns you didn't know you had. And just when the online world thought it understood him, he brought the chaos to the live felt. What do you do when the internet's most dangerous player walks into your live game? Let's find out. In 2009, Tom Dwan walked into the televised poker world like a glitch in the system. No sunglasses, no bravado, just this calm, twitchy intensity, like he was studying everyone in fast forward. At first, the live pros didn't know what to make of him, but that didn't last long.
And Barry's got aces, wow. Peter Eastgate's raised in late position. Barry might think he's full of it.
And Dwan starts out with a $28,700 bet. Here he comes. Wow, he's going to raise to $244,600.
He's going to put Dwan all in.
Oh, man.
Barry's hoping.
I think so, right? Whatever you want, I don't care. I don't problem with whatever. She said, are we running at once? I think so, right?
Yeah, I want to run at once. If you wanted to take a couple hundred back, that's okay.
No.
That's pretty easy.
Sorry.
Okay.
No case ace. Tom Dwan has just won the biggest hand in the history of televised poker.
That hand was Dwan announcing, "I'm not here to play like you. I'm here to break you." Tom Dwan was here to take your chips, your reads, and your sanity. He'd stare you down with that lopsided posture, casually fire massive overbets, and talk to you mid-hand like you were roommates. But this wasn't showmanship. It was psychological warfare. He made it impossible to know where you stood. Was he bluffing with nothing? Or trapping with the nuts? Phil Hellmuth once said, "This kid's either going to be broke in a year, or he's the next generation of greatness."
Now, Matt, Tom doesn't necessarily have to give Phil credit for a big hand here. It's tempting to think that Phil's trying to say, "Hey, kid, I won't let you run over me."
I'm all in.
Hey, and Dwan goes all in.
I call.
Quick call by Hellmuth.
I call.
The elimination hand and the flop. Deuce, king, 7 with a couple of spades. And the turn.
And it's a 10!
Huge suck out. The river's a 9 of diamonds, and Tom Dwan has eliminated Phil Hellmuth.
When you look up bad beat in the dictionary, that's what you'll find.
Turns out, he was both. He crushed cash games, he outplayed icons, and he made plays that defied logic until they worked. One of his most talked about hands came on $1 million cash game in London. Sammy George raises, Dwan re-raises, the pot balloons, and with nothing but Queen 4, Dwan unleashes a river overbet bluff that stuns the table.
It's
funny. I mean, what would you make it 6x with? Obviously, he's trying to take the...
Either 7 deuce or a very strong hand trying to look like 7 deuce, I think.
Sammy calls here. Tom should pretty much be done with this at this stage, right? I mean...
Well, it's hard to say. You can really see how that big bet pre-flop compounds on itself to build a gigantic pot.
No!
Wow! That is a gigantic bet!
No way.
More than double the pot!
It wasn't about the cards. It was about courage, timing, and knowing exactly when someone couldn't call. And that's what made Tom Dwan terrifying. He didn't care if you were a world champ or a billionaire. If you sat down with him, you were just a stack of chips with a heartbeat. So how does someone like that stay ahead of the curve? What made Dwan different, and why were even the best scared to play him? While others hunted the right move, Dwan hunted you. He didn't care about conventional wisdom, GTO charts, or what you were supposed to do in a given spot. He played you, not the hand. While others memorized ranges, Dwan mastered disruption. He understood how to break rhythm, to make the table uncomfortable, off balance, reactive. He'd check call a dry flop, float the turn with nothing, and suddenly shove the river like he knew your childhood secrets. But what made Dwan truly different wasn't just his plays. It was how he made you doubt yours. He forced mistakes by creating unfamiliar territory. Bet sizes that didn't make sense, timing that felt wrong, pressure that built until your confidence cracked. As Phil Galfond put it, Dwan made you feel like the rules didn't apply anymore. And here's the thing, in live games, especially deep stack cash, that psychological edge is more powerful than most realize, because it's not just a math game, it's a stress test. How long can you stare at someone who might be bluffing for your entire net worth? Dwan thrived in that space. Even his body language was weaponized. The half shrug, the casual sip of water, the deadpan stare that looked through you. He was young, fearless, and rich enough to risk losing. And that's the scariest combination in poker. But just as the world was starting to understand him, he vanished. So what happened to Tom Dwan? Why did the most exciting player in poker walk away from the spotlight? Let's take a look. By 2010, Tom Dwan wasn't just a poker star. He was the poker star. TV shows, million-dollar pots, fan forums dissecting every move he made, and then he disappeared. Not overnight, but gradually and quietly. First came the durrrr challenge, a public high-stakes heads-up match designed to prove Dwan's dominance. No one had ever done anything like it. He was offering millions, just to prove a point. Patrick Antonius stepped up first. The match was electric, and while it didn't go the full distance, Dwan ended up winning over $2 million. The challenge was considered complete. Then Daniel Jungleman Cates stepped in. That match actually got off the ground. Over 19,000 hands played. Dwan fell behind early, but as always, he stayed dangerous. And then, nothing. Years went by. The match stalled. Explanations were vague. Jungleman grew frustrated. Dwan, it seemed, had moved on. He wasn't chasing fame anymore. He was chasing something else. Some reports claim pots reached into the tens of millions, but most of it remains unconfirmed, shrouded in secrecy. $1 million buy-ins, ultra-rich businessmen. No cameras, no fanfare, just pure high-stakes blood sport. And Tom Dwan was right in the middle of it. Some say he was printing money in those games. Others say he went broke more than once, but nobody really knew. And Dwan wasn't talking. Every few years he'd reappear, a little older, a little quieter, in a Triton event or a high-stakes poker episode. In 2022, he even took down a short deck event at Triton Madrid, his first official Triton title. But the spark felt different. He still made great plays, still had that eerie calm, but the chaos, the unpredictability, the edge, that seemed harder to find. So what do we make of it all? Was Tom Dwan one of the greatest to ever play? Or just a ghost who burned too bright too fast? Let's wrap it up. Tom Dwan didn't win a main event, he didn't dominate the tournament circuit, and he never closed the durrrr challenge. But ask any pro who played him during those wild years, and they'll tell you, he changed the game. He made the standard play feel obsolete. He forced elite players to rethink what was possible, and for a brief, brilliant stretch in poker history, he was the final boss. Not because he had the biggest bankroll or the most bracelets, but because no one knew how to beat him. Even now, when you hear stories from high-stakes legends, Dwan's name comes up with a mix of reverence and mystery, because we never really got a full arc. No definitive peak, no dramatic fall, just a player who played by his own rules, until the spotlight stopped mattering.
In analytical points. Ivy. Jamming, meanwhile, here with ace-9 of hearts. Dwan's got hearts of his own.
So now it's just me and Ivy. He's reaching for chips. He's putting it in.
Wow.
Ollie.
So how good was prime Tom Dwan? Maybe it's the wrong question. Maybe greatness in poker isn't about titles or records. Maybe it's about how many people you made feel uncomfortable, and how long they stayed up at night wondering what you had. Subscribe for more poker stories.